Hi guys, welcome to the Wrestling Retrospective, and in today's video I'm going to be doing my review of WWE Backlash 2025. So first up on the card, we had Jacob Fatu successfully defend the United States Championship against Damian Priest, LA Knight and Drew McIntyre in what was one of the better matches of the night. I very much enjoyed it. It was action-packed. I don't think people kind of knew just how good this was going to be. Just like as a show in general, to be fair, this was very, very good. But no, Priest had a really good showing throughout the match. I probably would have put him down as MVP. He had like the best showing out of everybody. We knew Jacob was going to go on a roll kind of near the end. But yeah, Priest was pulling out like moves like the top rope Hurricane Rana and just like innovative offense kind of we don't always see from Damian Priest. LA Knight had a pretty decent showing. He kind of was involved in nearly everything. Drew kind of felt a miss at times, like he was on the outside for a while, but then would come back in for a bit and then go back out again, and then Priest and Drew did the whole thing on the outside, which I hope was okay. I've heard reports that like Drew's head like missed the table, so just hit the concrete, and Priest like got a hurt tooth or something, or all this kind of stuff. But you kind of expect that with like that kind of big table spot. But no, overall, I thought this was a really good match. Jacob retaining made the number one most sense, and we got the debut of Jeff Cobb, which is very interesting. I wasn't expecting him in the Bloodline stuff or in the Solo and Jacob stuff. I was expecting him to be an opponent for Jacob. I feel like that, as much as I know it's happened on the Indies, but I'd love to see Jacob and Jeff kind of go at it for the United States Championship, but it's fine that didn't happen. But it does leave me very interested in what the story is between these two and why Solo brought Jeff Cobb in, and maybe it's something to do with the fact that the Tongans aren't around at the minute and Solo wants like a muscle behind him, and they can kind of start building Solo again to a point where he can challenge Jacob for the United States Championship, maybe at SummerSlam. But no, overall this was a great match. As I said, probably very close second match of the night for me, and yeah, definitely go check it out if you can. It was very, very good, and yeah, great way to start a great card in my opinion. Following that, we had Lyra Valkyria defeat Becky Lynch to successfully retain the Women's Intercontinental Championship in what for me was the match of the night. I thought this was very, very good. Yeah, they really went out and killed it, only having the one women's match on the card, but you can kind of rely on Lyra and Becky to kind of go out and have a great match. It did have a bit of a slow start, but once we really got into it, it was very, very good, especially at false finishes near the end. There was multiple times where I thought Becky was getting the win when she sent Lyra into the middle turnbuckle and did the manhandle slam. I thought that was going to be it. When the fucking, what's the name for it now? What's the submission? I can't remember what the submission's called. The disarmer, that's the one. No, yeah, I don't know. Either way, brain fart. But yeah, when she had that applied, I thought that was going to be it. I was thoroughly convinced that Becky was going to win this match in the kind of horsewoman gets the win over like upcoming star kind of way, same way I assumed that Flair was going to beat Tiffany Stratton. And just like that match, in this match, Lyra Valkyria got the win, stole it with a roll-up, and I actually don't mind the fact they did it with a roll-up. It means that they can continue this story maybe for Evolution or for Money in the Bank, or maybe they'll both be in the Money in the Bank ladder match and they can carry the story through there. But no, this was very, very good, and yeah, I don't know what else to really say here. They went out and absolutely killed it. I like the fact that Lyra actually got the win here. It makes the Intercontinental Championship feel important. The fact that a horsewoman was defeated for it as well. And yeah, hopefully they carry the story on for a little bit longer, because the story they've been telling has been very good. Like I've said, Lyra has really come out of her shell a lot as far as promos go. You know, she's absolutely cooked Becky on the mic multiple times during the build-up to this. And yeah, I say both of these two seem to work together really well, have a very good chemistry, and I feel like it would go amiss if they didn't have a rematch where one of them won clean rather than via roll-up or that kind of stuff. After that, we had Dominic Mysterio defeat Penta to retain the Intercontinental Championship. It was a pretty decent match as well, probably the lowest match on the card, but like wasn't a bad match at all. It was pretty good. I would have said that it wouldn't have gone amiss being the main event of Raw, or maybe being on Saturday Night's main event, but that's kind of fine. It was good for like the middle part of the card, like literally bang on in the middle. But no, these guys absolutely went out and killed it. You could tell the chemistry in these two is really, really good as well. The tornado DDT from Dom to Penta on the outside was very surprising. I know they took the commentators for a loop, But yeah, I'd say overall Dom looked really good. Penta looked strong in defeat. I know the Judgment Day kind of tried to get involved but then failed. I thought that might have been the kind of ending up of Dom losing the title, because Balor would try and get involved again and cost him the match, but that wasn't the case. We saw El Grande Americano cost Penta the match via piece of metal and a mask to the head, and then the frog splash from Dom, which makes sense. They're continuing the story of kind of El Grande Americano kind of getting involved with luchadors. I feel like it nicely moves Penta away from the Intercontinental Championship and has him viewed with Chad Gable and that kind of stuff going forward, which again, you know, Chad Gable was Penta's first opponent on Raw, so it makes sense that kind of they would have a little feud as well, and it seems like that's the way they're going. We're going to get Penta versus El Grande Americano at some point, and then yeah, it leaves Dom to kind of move on to new challenges for the Intercontinental Championship from the match he won at WrestleMania. So yeah, for me, this worked out really well on all fronts. This was a good match, and I'm really glad that Dom retained. Following that, we had Gunther defeat Pat McAfee in what was a surprisingly good match. I feel like people, for the most part, thought this was going to be kind of the not like the best match on the card, but actually this delivered really well. Pat continues every time to prove people wrong about like just how good he is in the ring. But yeah, I know it's really hard to see, but it's like he did the moonsault off the top when he landed on his feet, even landed on his feet off a German suplex. And then you look at like the rest of the match, he took an absolute beating as far as chops go, and just like in general been thrown around the ring for a while. I like the fact they got Michael Cole involved and he was in the ring for a second. I would have loved to see Michael Cole try and kind of do the Shane McMahon jabs to Gunther to try and like help Pat. I know it probably would have caused the disqualification, but I feel like they could kind of show some leniency towards that, and it would have like helped Pat get the advantage back in the match. But no, everything works out really well. They did the pin where Michael held his foot down, a bit like how Kofi held Xavier Woods' pin Ivar at WrestleMania. But obviously Gunther kicked out and then trying to went for Cole again. But yeah, the whole story of the match worked out really well. I'm glad they did the show of respect at the end, with Gunther kind of giving Pat his flowers as far as like not taking him to the limit, but kind of showing that he just isn't a pushover like Gunther, the character of Gunther, would expect him to be. But no, everything here worked out really well. It was one of the better matches of the card, just as far as like moments go, as say with Cole getting involved and Pat taking an absolute beating. And Pat was in the sleeper hold for a while as well. It wasn't just a quick tap out like some people would have done, especially like with more non-wrestlers than like wrestling every week. But yeah, I'd say nothing bad to say about this one. This was very, very good in my opinion. And finally, in the main event, John Cena defeated Randy Orton to retain the WWE Championship after as much shenanigans as you could possibly need in that match. But no, the match itself was fine. I wasn't expecting like a 5-star classic out of these two. You know, they made what they had work. You know, obviously both of them are a lot older, a lot slower. And yeah, it worked for the most part. But as soon as the referee took the bump is when the match really picked up. You know, you had Randy Orton do 2 AAs through tables to Cena. You kind of had a feeling about it that like someone was going to come out and help John. The last person I expected to come out and help John was going to be R-Truth. Randy Orton RKOing everybody. You know, you think about it, it was a $50,000 fine for RKOing Aldis. Last time he paid in advance. Last time he didn't pay advance. This time so he has to pay again. But then I think he RKO'd like 5 more officials. I think it added up to like a $250,000 fine if you're gonna do it equally. I find it hard to believe that we are getting Nick Aldis versus Randy Orton at some point. I feel like all these RKOs are gonna add up to a match at some point. I'm not sure when. Maybe they do it at SummerSlam, maybe they do it at RB level pay-per-view. I don't feel like it's a massive deal where they do it. As long as it happens, I really want to see Nick Aldis versus Randy Orton. I feel like it'll be a great match. But yeah, R-Truth coming out and he helps Cena get the win, and he gets RKO'd as well, which helps Cena get the advantage back and do the low blow, hit him with the belt, and that be it. Yeah, and then afterwards at the press conference, R-Truth kind of not confronts Cena, but goes up to Cena, and then Cena puts him through a table. And the reports of Cena versus R-Truth at Saturday's main event, look, people can say, oh, it's a waste of a match for Cena. I've seen a lot of people saying, no, we don't need to do this, blah blah blah. Why not? Like, R-Truth and Cena, this whole story has been going on for ages. The whole childhood hero of R-Truth is John Cena. I feel like it'd be missed if they didn't do this, and I feel like they're not going to do it on pay-per-view, we know that, but to do it on a Saturday's main event, it's kind of supposed to be a pay-per-view level, like, TV show essentially. But the last few main events haven't really been pay-per-view quality. I feel like it's a good place to do it, in my opinion, and I feel like it's not going to be the best match in the world. I think it's going to be a bit of fun, and yeah, I actually generally am looking forward to seeing how they kind of tell that story over the next couple of weeks before this main event. But yeah, as far as like finishing this feud, the feud itself finished in a way that like the current story would make sense in. I know that like people can be like, oh, but we wanted this and we wanted that from Cena, and some people wanted the slap stuff and some people wanted this one. No, I feel like for the current story it worked out exactly how it should have. And yeah, I feel like this was a good way to finish off the feud with kind of shenanigans and RKOs everywhere and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I feel like it worked out really well. This match was a lot better than the Cody Rhodes match from WrestleMania. And yeah, I feel like just as a final match, it worked really well in my opinion. So those are my thoughts and opinions on Backlash 2025. Overall, I thought this was a really good show. I've got really nothing bad to say about it. You know, all the matches were solid. Like, I mean, yeah, the weakest match on the card was the men's Intercontinental Championship match, but even that was pretty good. Like, it would have happily been a good place main event in Raw, which is obviously means it's a pretty good match. Obviously, match of the night for me was Lyra and Becky, though the Fatal 4-Way match for the United States Championship was very good as well. But yeah, do put down in the comments below what you enjoyed the most, kind of what you want to see going forward. Do you want to see Truth versus Cena at Saturday night's main event? And yeah, anything else you want to discuss in the comments. I do have a second channel now. It's called the Random Retrospective. I talk about TV, movies, music, and football mostly, as well as just some other random stuff if it comes up. There's a link to it in the description and on the main page of the channel as well. If you scroll down to the bottom, it'll be there as well, so do go subscribe to that. I'm looking forward to getting a load of stuff on there over the coming weeks. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Do leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.